My name is Anders. I am from a company called Nordic Hydro. At Nordic Hydro, we work with vertical farming, indoor farming, controlled environmental agriculture, and we are in the process of assembling this system. This is a hydroponics setup where we are growing with vertical NFT. NFT is a nutrient film technique where we add water in one end of the gutter, and then in the other end the water trickles down. So we just have to use a pump to pump the water up into the top. The way the system works is that we have these pipes. We can put these together. It's kind of like a Lego system where we can assemble the pipes. In the top, we pump the water up through these holes, and then the gravity will naturally pull the water down into the water tank again. And in the water tank, we have a nutrient solution where we will give the plants what they need in order to have an efficient grow. We will be assembling it with these LED lights. This is 6500 kelvins with 660 and 730 nanometer red to increase the productivity of the photosynthesis in the plants. This is the drain pipe that we use. We will be assembling it with these pipes, and then we can just essentially stack them as high as we want, and then just add the water to the top of the pipes via an irrigation system, and during this we can grow whatever we'd like to grow. Now we have put together the pipes. We will be putting it into the system, and what you can see here, we will be putting them together inside here, so it's locked in place now. So this means that we can pump water into the top, and then the water trickles down. With these plant holders, we can add our rock wool cubes, and then in here we will see the water trickle down. What we're doing here is we are assembling the irrigation for the system, and this works by we pump water up into this pipe, and then through this pipe it goes down into the individual grow pipes. So now we've installed the irrigation system up into the top, and now we have to connect this pipe with the pump in the bottom, and this is pretty simple. This is the pipe, and in the tank here we have the pipe. We have the pump, and then this connects to the pipe where we can pump the water up into the top of the system. Now we've installed the lights. The only thing we need to do is put a plug on the light, and then the wiring connects inside of the shelf here. In the bottom we have a propagation light, so it's gonna hang here, and then we can propagate our plants here if we don't have the space to propagate. Now we have connected the system, we've connected the lights, the irrigation is set up, and now it's time to figure how much light and how much water are we going to give the plants. I recommend you put 18 hours of light and 6 hours of darkness because the plants need to recover from the light, and you will also reduce the energy consumption of the system. In terms of the watering, then I would recommend, because this is rock wool cubes, and these rock wool cubes is really good for soaking up water. So if you put the pump, you can put the pump on 24/7, but you can also, to save some lifetime in the pump, turn it on 15 minutes every hour. So that's up to you how you want to do it. But then we have these rock wool cubes. These cubes, they fit perfectly into the system here, and the clever thing about it is that they cover the light completely, so that we don't get any light onto the water, because if we get a lot of light on the water, then we have a lot of algae growth, because algae like light. Now now we have, as you can see here, we have a tray. Inside this tray, normally this is made so you can connect it here and you can propagate all your plants under the system like this. And then what you do is you have a rock wool cube, you take a seed, put it in there like this, and then I would recommend that you give it plain water, pH regulated water, because if you put too much fertilizer solution before they are sprouted, you can have algae growth because of course the top of the rock wool hits the light. Is this climate smart farming? There is both positives and negatives, of course. We use some energy in lighting up the system like this. Of course, if we would compare this to using the sun, then the sun would be more climate positive. But there's so many more factors going into this, because we don't need to use big heavy machinery, use a lot of gas on the machinery going out on the fields harvesting the crops. We can produce them in a very local environment, so we can produce them very close to where they are consumed, which means that we don't need to spend a lot of energy on transporting from one place to another. This is also a big advantage because we can share food and we can grow food and deliver it much more fresh, because when we compare it to the field, you harvest it on the field, it goes into a warehouse and you transport it into many different companies or wholesalers or distributors. Instead of, you can actually just grow this very, very locally and you can eat it at the place where it's grown. So the freshness of the plants and the leafy greens are much higher in a system like this. In places where water is a bit more uncommon and we need to save on water, then we can save up to 95% compared to traditional farming. Of course, there is also a big advantage in we can stack the growing, so it means that we can optimize the space we are using. The last awesome thing about this is that we can grow this in all climate zones, in all climates, and that means that if you are in the cold north, like we are up here, then during winter time, where greenhouses typically spend a lot of energy on heating the greenhouse, we don't need to spend that much energy because we can insulate the climate where we are growing in, and we can optimize the energy.